President, Vice President, members of Council, past President, Deans, faculty, fellows, ladies and gentlemen, you're all very welcome to the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland this evening for our conferring ceremonies. Before declaring open the conferring ceremonies, I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce our platform party. At the table at the centre of the stage to the front is the President of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, Mr. Kenneth Mealy. At the back of the platform, from your right, is Professor Ronan O'Connell, Vice President of RCSI, Dr. Conor McCarthy, Pro-President of RCPI, Ms. Anya Gibbons, Director of Development, Alumni Relations, Fellows and Members at RCSI, Professor Sean Tierney, Dean of Professional Development and Practice at RCSI, Mr. Kieran Ryan, Managing Director of Surgical Affairs at RCSI, Ms. Emma Scally, Professional and Postgraduate Examinations Manager at RCSI, Mr. Cliff Byrne, Dean of the Faculty of Sports and Exercise Medicine of RCPI and RCSI, Professor Albert Long, Dean-elect of the Faculty of Dentistry at RCSI, Dr. Niall Sheehy, Dean of the Faculty of Radiologists at RCSI, Dr. Philip Carolyn, Honorary Secretary of the Faculty of Sports and Exercise Medicine, Dr. Edward Cotter, Honorary Secretary of the Faculty of Dentistry of RCSI, Dr. Patricia Cunningham, Vice Dean of the Faculty of Radiologists, RCSI, Mr. David Moore, Chair of the Irish Surgical Postgraduate Training Committee and Council Member of RCSI, and my name is Cathal Kelly, CEO of RCSI. We will now commence the proceedings of the award of Honorary Fellowships of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, and today we are delighted and indeed honoured to have two very worthy recipients for our Honorary Fellowship Award. Professor Michael Lavelle-Jones, immediate past President of the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh, and Professor Joe Shapiro, Consultant Otolaryngologist at the Brigham and Women's Hospital and Associate Professor of the Department of Otolaryngology, Head and Neck Surgery of Harvard Medical School. The President, Mr. Kenneth Mealy, will confer our Honorary Fellowship candidates. It now gives me great pleasure to invite to the platform Ms. Margaret O'Donnell, Council Member of RCSI, to come forward and read the citation for Professor Michael Lavelle-Jones, past President of the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh.
Mr. President, Vice President, members of Council, past Presidents, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and children, it is an honour to present to you Professor Michael Lavelle-Jones. He is a noteworthy addition to the illustrious roll call of previous recipients of Honorary Fellowships of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland. He has made important contributions to the education and the practice of surgery, to the benefit of his patients and to a generation and more of surgical trainees. He was born and raised in Wales and attended medical school at the University of Liverpool. Distinction and an exhibition prize in anatomy perhaps predicted his future direction as a surgeon. After surgical training in the greater Liverpool area, he spent 3 years as a research fellow in the University of California, San Diego, where he met his wife, Christine, and he undertook his MD thesis. He returned to the UK, to Birmingham, and then to Dundee, in a department then headed by Professor Alf Kaushieri. Mike became a keen proponent of minimal access surgical and endoscopy techniques, which was then an emerging field. In 1993, he was appointed as consultant surgeon in this same unit in Ninewells Hospital and Medical School, Dundee, a post he held until 2015. This was primarily a general surgical post with a workload split between adult and paediatric. He had a particular interest in the management of inflammatory bowel disease and colorectal cancer. This was obviously a very busy clinical time, as Mike was the sole surgeon based in Ninewells with an interest in paediatric surgery, providing a 1 and 2 on-call cover for all children under 3 and neonates. At all stages of his career, Professor Lavelle-Jones has taken an active part in education and teaching. He took on 2 consecutive terms of office as the Chairman Programme Director of the Regional Higher Surgical Training Committee in 1994, while simultaneously chairing the Basic Surgical Training Subcommittee in the region. He won the coveted Silver Scalpel Award for the Best UK Surgical Trainer in 2014, nominated by UK trainees. It is no surprise, given this commitment to surgical training, that he has been an examiner for FRCS, MRCS for over 20 years, since 1996, and has examined extensively overseas for the intercollegiate examinations. For 4 years, until 2010, he held the challenging position of the convener of examinations, having overall responsibility for delivery of the Edinburgh College Collegiate Examination portfolio, along with the intercollegiate MRCS. In addition to multiple publications and book chapters, Mike is the editor and chief contributor of the renowned textbook Surgery 1, aimed at final year students as part of their examination preparation. This was first published in 1997 and is now in its 3rd edition, a true measure of an enduring and successful textbook. Professor Lavelle-Jones was elected to the Council of the College of Surgeons of Edinburgh in 2008 and held significant roles there before becoming president in 2015. During his period of office, he has had particular interest in promoting good practice in the workplace through the anti-bullying campaign, Let's Remove It, and in promoting the work of the Edinburgh College internationally, opening its first international office in Kuala Lumpur. As president of the Edinburgh College, he has chosen to speak on matters relating to education, training and assessment, particularly exploring the tension between the specialist and generalist training and the need to provide surgeons for the needs of society, which is not always aligned to the trainees' aspirations. It is hard to think he has any spare time, but Mike is an outdoor man pursuing activities such as sea fishing, walking, ornithology, travel and photography, and declares himself an avid railway modeller. Throughout his career, he has been supported by his wife, Christine, whom we are pleased to welcome here today. Mr. President, I commend to you Professor Michael Lavelle-Jones, a very worthy recipient of an Honorary Fellowship of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland.
I, Michael Lavelle-Jones, do solemnly and sincerely declare that I will observe and be obedient to the statutes, bylaws and ordinances of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, and I will, to the utmost of my power, endeavour to promote the reputation, the honour and dignity of the said college.
By virtue of my office as President, I admit you an Honorary Fellow of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland.
Thank you. Can we get to the sign? I would now like to invite Ms. Camilla Carroll, Council Member of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, to come forward and to read the citation for Professor Joe Shapiro.
Mr. President, Vice President, members of Council, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honour to read the citation for Professor Joe Shapiro, distinguished otolaryngologist, head and neck surgeon at Brigham and Women's Hospital, Boston, Associate Professor of Otolaryngology at Harvard Medical School, and founder and current director of the BWH Center for Professionalism and Peer Support. Professor Shapiro received her BA from Cornell University and her MD from George Washington University Medical School. Her general surgery training was at UC San Diego and UCLA. She then went on to specialty training in otolaryngology at Harvard, followed by a year of the International Institute of Health Training Grant Fellowship in swallowing physiology. Joe has been a faculty member in the Department of Surgery at Brigham and Women's Hospital since 1987, and she was one of the first women to become division chief at BWH, a position she has held for over 18 years. BWH is a 793-bed tertiary care facility and a major teaching hospital for Harvard Medical School. It has a physician and scientist faculty of 2,738 people. It conducts the second largest hospital-based research program in the world, with a budget exceeding $630 million. Joe's current surgical practice is specializing in adults with oropharyngeal swallowing disorders. Early on in Joe's surgical career, she expressed an interest in surgical education and the professional development of a culture that values and promotes mutual respect, trust, and teamwork. Professor Shapiro's academic interest in medical professionalism reflected the current trends in healthcare systems, which have changed the traditional way surgeons interact with their patients. Professionalism is at the heart of being a good doctor, and it is central to the surgeon's contract with society. This interest culminated in the foundation of the BWH Center of Professionalism and Peer Support in 2008. The center provides educational leadership programs nationally and internationally for institutions that are seeking methods to enhance teamwork and respect. Much of the focus is aimed at enhancing physician well-being and addressing the universal epidemic of burnout that is plaguing the medical profession currently. Joe remains a core faculty member of the Managing Workplace Conflict, Improving Leadership and Personal Effectiveness course for Physician Health Services Incorporated. She is also the visiting professor of professional behavior and peer support in medicine through the academic track at Groningen University Medical Center in the Netherlands. Joe has held many leadership roles in surgical education and assessment. She has served as president of the Society of University Otolaryngologists, where she chaired the Faculty Development Committee. She has served on the Ethics and Professional Committee of the American Board of Medical Specialties, and she was appointed a member of the American Board of Otolaryngology Head and Neck Surgery Education Council. In 2012, Professor Shapiro was elected as a senior examiner for the American Board of Otolaryngology. She has also served as a member of the Israeli Commission for Higher Education International Committee for the Evaluation of Medical Schools in Israel. Professor Shapiro has demonstrated effective altruism. This is a cornerstone of the Harvard ethos through her global medical education work with low to middle income countries and as a visiting professor and Otolaryngology Residency Program Advisor for Edinburgh University of Science and Technology, MUST, in Uganda. This work is carried out in partnership with Mass General Hospital Division of Global Health. When asked which career achievement she is most proud of, Jo referenced her association with the Center for Global Health, whose aims are to reduce health disparities for the world's most vulnerable populations through education, research, and service. In the words of Steven Pinker, Harvard professor of cognitive psychology, efforts that actually help people rather than making you feel good or helping you show off is one of the great new ideas of the 21st century. Professor Joe Shapiro has pioneered the conceptual development of modern medical professionalism, and she is committed to global health medical education and training. Harvard Medical School acknowledged her remarkable achievements in 2019 by awarding her the Shirley Driscoll Dean's Award for the advancement of women's careers. This is given to faculty members who have set an example not only as a surgical mentor, but also as a role model and an activist. Throughout her career, Jo has had the support of family and friends, and I would like to welcome her husband, Peter, here this evening to our wonderful college. So in conclusion, Professor Mealy, it gives me great pleasure to present to you Professor Joe Shapiro, who I am sure you will agree is worthy of the highest distinction this college has to offer, the Honorary Fellowship of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland.
I, Joe Shapiro, do solemnly and sincerely declare that I will observe and be obedient to the statutes, bylaws, and ordinances of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, and I will, to the utmost of my power, endeavor to promote the reputation, honor, and dignity of the said college.
By virtue of my office as President, I admit you an Honorary Fellow of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland.
Sincere congratulations to both our newest honorary fellows. We now proceed to the conferring of fellowships and memberships of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland. It gives me pleasure to invite Mr. David Moore, Chair of the Irish Surgical Postgraduate Training Committee and Council Member of RCSI, to introduce the candidates for the fellowship and membership of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland.
Okay, I would like to invite the candidates for the Fellowship of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, including Ad Eundem candidates, to rise and recite the declaration in unison with me. The declaration is listed on page 8 of your booklet. I state your name, do solemnly and sincerely declare and promise that I will observe and be obedient to the statutes, bylaws and ordinances of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, and that I will, to the utmost of my power, endeavour to promote the reputation, honour and dignity of the said college. I promise to place the welfare of my patients above all else. I promise to be respectful of my fellow healthcare professionals and will readily offer them my assistance and support. I further promise to continue to learn and teach and maintain my competence for the benefit of my patients, trainees, and the society in which I serve. I now call on the President to admit you Fellows of the College.
By virtue of my office as President, I admit you Fellows of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland.
I will now call on the candidates to come forward and receive your parchment from the President. Cardiothoracic Surgery, Paul Cullen. In General Surgery, Wakas Tariq Butt. Donna Healy. Chanro Mahmood Karim Baban. Edel Marie Quinn. Farhan Shazad. Tafadzwa Sitsi Mandizwanza. Sharif Mamdou Ismail Syed El Iraq. Christine Quinlan. Connor Sugru. Moving on to trauma and orthopedic surgery, James Broderick. Yahya Abdallah Mohammed El Hassan. Sameh Fayez Fahim Gerges. Enda Kelly. Niall McGoldrick. Amjad Madani. Rajiv Merchant. Muhammad Muqtba Asman Ghaffar Osman. And the Fellowship in Urology, Mark Brough. Cleena Brown. Shane Considine. Mohammed Saeed Abul Majid Mohammed. Shogi Izzeldin Abdulrazi Gomer. And in vascular surgery, Mohammed El Kasabi Abdil Majid. I would now invite the candidates for the membership of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, including ENT, to rise and recite the declaration in unison with me. The declaration is listed on page 8 of your booklet. I state your name, do solemnly and sincerely declare and promise that I will observe and be obedient to the statutes, bylaws, and ordinances of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, and that I will, to the utmost of my power, endeavour to promote the reputation, honour, and dignity of the said college. I promise to place the welfare of my patients above all else. I promise to be respectful of my fellow healthcare professionals and will readily offer them my assistance and support. I further promise to continue to learn and teach and maintain my competence for the benefit of my patients, trainees, and the society in which I serve. I now call on the President to admit you members of the College.
By virtue of my office of President, I admit you members of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland.
I will now call on each of you in turn to come forward to receive your scroll from the President. Fahad Abdul Malik. Rizwan Ahmed. Ahmed Abdel Moiz Ahmed Ali Al Sayed. Patrick Boland. Jonathan Crean. Cian Davis. Megan Diak. Emma Dunn. Hisham Abdallah El Tayeb El Bashir. Ahmed El Said Abdel Galil El Bastawizi. Ayman Mohammed Hamdi Tawfiq El Said. Michael Fitzsimons. Tio Gyakhui. Mark Grant Fremantle. Yazan Saleh Rajab Hamad. Kamal Abdallah Hassan Kamal. Joshua Hayes. Anya Heaney. Sandra Hembrecht. Humayun Hijazi. Kevin Keane. Niall Kennedy. Mohammed Ajmal Khan. Ailva Kiley. Emily Mahan. Tayob Mansour. Daryl McCauley. Nathaniel McHugh. Tom McIntyre. Daniel McNicholas. Aisha Mughal. Gabriel Fayuza Figueiredo Orsi. Shumail Marshall Paulus. Mohammed Rahil. Pat Rowan. Chean Ying Saw. Jared Geethan Sebastian. Neo Shu Lee. Yvonne Sweeney. Anam Zara. Thank you.
I now invite the Dean of the Faculty of Radiologists, Dr. Niall Sheehy, to join the President at the front table, and the Vice Dean of the Faculty of Radiologists, Dr. Patricia Cunningham, to introduce the candidates for Fellowship of the Faculty of Radiologists, including radiation oncology and radiodiagnosis.
I will now introduce the candidates for Fellowship of the Faculty of Radiologists. Will the candidates please rise and recite the declaration, which is listed on page 8 of your booklet, together as follows. I state your name, do hereby solemnly and sincerely declare and promise that I will observe and be obedient to the statutes, bylaws and ordinances of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, and that I will, to the utmost of my power, endeavour to promote the reputation, honour and dignity of the said college. I now invite the Dean to admit the new Fellows.
By virtue of my office of Dean, in the presence of the President, I admit you Fellows to the Faculty of Radiologists, Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland.
I will now call each of you in turn to come forward to receive your scroll from the Dean. In Radiation Oncology, Teresa Denizulu. Martin Higgins. Yana McHugh. And in radiodiagnosis, David Ryan.
I would now like to invite the Dean-elect of the Faculty of Dentistry, Professor Albert Leong, to join the President, and the Honorary Secretary of the Faculty of Dentistry, Dr. Edward Cotter, to introduce the candidates for Fellowship of the Faculty of Dentistry, including Ad Eundem, Membership of the Faculty of Dentistry, and the Diploma in Primary Care Dentistry.
I will now introduce the candidates for Fellowship of the Faculty of Dentistry, including Ad Eundem. Will the candidates please rise and recite the declaration listed on page 8 of your booklet in unison as follows. I, state your name, do hereby solemnly and sincerely declare and promise that I will observe and be obedient to the statutes, bylaws and ordinances of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, and that I will, to the utmost of my power, endeavour to promote the reputation, honour and dignity of the said college. I now invite the Dean-elect to admit the new Fellows.
By virtue of my office of Dean-elect, in the presence of the President, I admit you Fellows of the Faculty of Dentistry of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland.
I will now call each of you in turn to come forward to receive your scroll from the Dean-elect. Adedoyin Adegbaite. Mohammed Hassan. Viraj Jaya Singh. Anne Gunderman. I will now introduce the candidates for membership of the Faculty of Dentistry. Will the candidates please rise and recite the declaration listed on page 8 of your booklet in unison as follows. I, state your name, do hereby solemnly and sincerely declare and promise that I will observe and be obedient to the statutes, bylaws and ordinances of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, and that I will, to the utmost of my power, endeavour to promote the reputation, honour and dignity of the said college. I now invite the Dean-elect to admit the new members.
By virtue of my office of Dean-elect, in the presence of the President, I admit you members of the Faculty of Dentistry of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland.
Now I will call each of you in turn to come forward to receive your scroll from the Dean-elect. Samar Abdel Khani. Rana Abu El Magd. Haider Alawi. Kamal Baig Mirza. John Bailey. Aoife Barry. Jamshid Butt. Liam Costello. Jennifer Coughlin. Fatma El Husseini. Sarah El Sheshtawi. Amira El Tayyib. Shaima Hassanin. Mairead Hennigan. Mairead Kelly. Rika Koski. Quiva McKenna. Samantha Michael. Ahmed Mustafa. Claire Murphy. Vignesh Murthy. Camille Niargoin. Jill O'Driscoll. Anastasios Plesas. Joanna Polity. Basant Sharma. Delia Smith. We now move on to the Diploma of Primary Care Dentistry of the Faculty of Dentistry. I will call each of you in your turn to come forward to receive your scroll from the Dean-elect. Mustafa Al-Mohsen. Sana Askari. Robin Crowley. Jacqueline Deneen. Molly Ann Gallagher. Rona Keane. Martin Mannion. Enia Nastri. Rebecca No. Barry Patton. Ivan Sassu.
We now move to Fellowships of the Faculty of Sports and Exercise Medicine. I'd like to invite Dr. Conor McCarthy, Pro-President of the Royal College of Physicians of Ireland, and Mr. Cliff Byrne, Dean of the Faculty of Sports and Exercise Medicine, to take their place at the conferring table with the President. I also call on the Honorary Secretary of the Faculty, Dr. Philip Carolan, to introduce the candidates for the Fellowship of the Faculty of Sports and Exercise Medicine of RCPI and RCSI.
I will now introduce the candidates for Fellowship of the Faculty of Sports and Exercise Medicine. Will the candidates please rise and recite the declaration listed on page 8 of your booklet in unison as follows. I state your name. Do solemnly and sincerely declare and promise that I will observe and be obedient to the statutes, bylaws and ordinances of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland and the Royal College of Physicians of Ireland, and that I will do to the utmost of my power endeavour to promote the reputation, honour and dignity of the said colleges. I now invite the Dean to admit the new Fellows.
By virtue of my office of Dean, in the presence of the President RCSI and Pro-President RCPI, I admit you Fellows of the Faculty of Sports and Exercise Medicine of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland and the Royal College of Physicians of Ireland.
I will now call on the candidates to come forward to receive their scroll from the Dean. Enda Devitt. Patrick Fell. Edward Lakowski. Sean McMillan. Scott Sigman. Alejandro Baida. Matthew Baker. Neil Burke. Seamus Dalton. Melissa Givens. Mary Horgan. Orla Lyons. John McManus.
As we proceed towards our guest lecture, I would now like to ask the platform party if they could take their seats at the front row facing the stage. It now gives me great pleasure to invite RCSI Honorary Fellow, Professor Joe Shapiro, to come forward to give the guest lecture entitled Moving Towards a Culture of Safety.
Wow, this is really just an unbelievable honor to be here. I want to thank President Mealy, Vice President O'Connell, CEO Professor Kelly, RCPI, Pro-President McCarthy, members of council, deans, fellows, members, diplomats, and honored guests. This is a huge honor. I want you to know that from all the corners of the earth, this is considered one of the most prestigious, collegial, and professional organizations really in the world. And it's been responsible for some phenomenal actions and accomplishments, and also is known for its true fellowship, really welcoming people into this community. And I feel so honored to be a part of this community. It's truly a career pinnacle for me. I also want to thank my family and particularly my husband who's here representing, and I have 3 grown children, my mom, sister, all those people, because none of us gets here alone. We are really all part of our family's successes as well. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you all. I invite you to think of a time when you were working and you were working hard, it was challenging, and you were supported by the organization, by your team, those around you, working to keep the patient in the center of all of your attention and care. And I want to invite you to remember how great that feels. That's what we're going for, and that's what we have most of the time. We're talking about maintaining a culture that actually supports that kind of work. When we talk about culture, a lot of people use the word. I just want to say it's not some ethereal thing. It's actually patterns of relating that persist and change through ongoing interaction. So the beauty of culture is we can decide at any moment, both individually and organizationally, we're going to do more of the things that support the culture that we value and less of the things that we don't. So I'd like to, in this brief time, make the argument that culture drives safe care delivery, practitioner well-being, and the learning environment. The culture, is we've defined, is actually about behaviors, and the behavioral domains I just want to touch on are professionalism, teamwork, and how we as a community respond to when things go wrong, to errors. So just to define, and this was Amy Edmondson's work, defining and studying team psychological safety, it's a shared belief in the interpersonal safety within the team. It includes a sense of confidence that the team will not embarrass, reject, or punish someone for speaking up. If they notice something isn't going well or they have a question, they're able to speak up without fear of personal retaliation. It's got to stem from mutual respect and trust among all of the team members, regardless of hierarchy. So in order to really think about a positive culture, I do believe we have to look at the dark side of our medical profession. And we'll do it briefly because I think it's a part of our culture that we need to change and that we can, must, and have been changing. So just again, one study, these are two studies actually, one showing that there's a certain prevalence of behaviors noted by physicians and surgeons that actually interferes with patient care. Another study looked at a national survey of thousands of healthcare practitioners, 51% having witnessed disruptive behavior correlating with compromises in safety, and 71% noting compromises in patient quality. The Joint Commission looked at thousands of medical errors and found that over 60% were actually due to miscommunication. Not technical failures, people didn't know what they were doing, but the way the teams were communicating amongst themselves and between teams was faulty and led to actual patient harm. Another study of surgical cases showed that those surgical teams exhibiting less teamwork behaviors, their patients were at higher risk for death and complications. We didn't know this when I trained. We really didn't know this at all. We thought that the key to success of patient safety and quality was in the individual technical and cognitive competence of each of us. We didn't realize that the way we treat each other on the team actually affects the outcomes of the work that we do. On the bright side, a study showed reported levels of positive communication and collaboration between, you would say, consultants and residents, registrars, fellows, correlated with lower risk-adjusted morbidity of the patients they were caring for. In another branch of looking at this, popularized or studied, I should say, by Jody Hoffer-Gattel, is that you can actually measure the domains of shared goals, shared knowledge, and mutual respect on a team along domains of communication. And she showed that it correlates, that high levels of relational coordination actually correlate with positive patient outcomes. And what I'm showing you next is a study of 9 different healthcare teams across the U.S. that were doing total knee replacement, looking at measuring how the people in the healthcare team spoke to and dealt with each other, communicated with each other, and it was linearly correlated with the outcomes of their patients. Pretty amazing, right? Something so upstream influencing an outcome that we all hold near and dear. So we've got to think about how are we going to actually encourage and teach these behaviors. And I would say that I don't really believe that we're going to legislate this. I think we're going to need to live it. And I want to give you one small example of how each of you and each of us can do this. And it's a personal example. It's what I do. I'm not saying it's the only way, but it's a way of encouraging respect and trust and speaking up. So when I operate, we have a surgical checklist, as you do, and it's sometimes called a safety pause, where the whole team is around the patient who's anesthetized on the table. And at the end of this checklist, I say something looking at every single team member, and I say, I want to remind each of us that this is a team effort. And if any of you see something that you're concerned about, I want you to call it out. We cannot do this alone. We have to watch each other and help each other take care of this woman, this man. because I know that even though I think I'm very approachable, I'm not. I'm based on my hierarchical position. If I don't explicitly welcome concerns and say, this is the culture that we must have here right now in this operating room, just by virtue of our hierarchy, it won't happen. So those are things we can do individually to change the culture, support a culture of trust and respect, speaking up. A further unpacking of safety culture is looking at how we as a community and teams and individuals respond when we've actually inadvertently caused harm to patients. We know if we want to make the system safer, we have to not just learn from experience, meaning, oh, it happened, but we need to reflect together on what that experience was and what we need to learn from it. The problem is that we are still mired in a shame and blame culture that we've inherited. And a lot of this is exemplified by how our external regulators look at these events and how the media looks at them. And I want to say that we need to stand up for each other and with each other, not to avoid learning from events, but to insist that we learn from them. And learning from them includes not blaming and shunning and punishing each other. We know that the emotional impact of clinicians, physicians, surgeons, other healthcare team members after being involved in an error includes all sorts of really, really painful personal emotions, sadness, shame, self-doubt, fear of what's going to happen to me, my reputation, anger that the system doesn't seem to support us, and then this sense of I'm alone, I'm isolated. We've got to do something about this because emotionally impaired healthcare practitioners cannot give good care. We can't give what we don't have. We've got to find a way, and there are ways. And we were involved in a study that actually looked at what were the factors that helped. In this case, this study was of physicians and surgeons become resilient, that is, learn and grow after making an error instead of being crushed by it. And there were many different factors that actually were positively correlated with resilience. But two of them were learning from the error and understanding how to prevent it from happening to another colleague, another colleague having this happen to their patient. Then sharing that knowledge and learning with colleagues and trainees. So I would suggest that all of us need to be sure that wherever we're practicing, wherever we are doing our clinical care, we have a rigorous and compassionate way of analyzing events so that we can learn from them. And that's what a safety culture is. It's a learning and growth mindset where everybody feels safe talking about errors, we don't punish for human error, and we find and fix vulnerabilities in our systems and our own personal behaviors that that may end up causing errors if we don't change them. Another factor correlating with resilience was talking about it with colleagues, not mental health practitioners, but colleagues who've been there. We did a study and we showed actually 88% of the physicians we surveyed after medical error would have wanted to speak to a physician colleague. Again, even though we have great mental health practitioners, employee assistance program, we actually need to speak to each other. So I believe that having programs, real formal programs in place in wherever we're working, where we provide this opportunity to talk to each other as a team, and then also in many cases one-on-one with a colleague, so that we can process our emotions in order to get back to doing what we do in a way that keeps us whole, both emotionally, physically, and spiritually. I do believe that peer support and these other programs that can help us be there for each other, promote a culture of safety by moving away from shame and blame towards a just culture, a safety, psychologically safe culture, by expecting us to be perfect when we're human and we can't be, and we need to learn from that and do the best we can to prevent our human errors from reaching patients, but that will never be perfect. We still have to prevent harm from patients, but it will not be from perfection because that's unattainable. It'll be from systems changes and learning and growth. the expectation that we're supposed to just deal with problems and handle it, because put your head down, get your work done, without realizing that, over time, sometimes these things can really hurt, and we need to have a way to process these emotions. The idea that we're alone after something goes wrong, moving away from that, saying you're part of a community. We are all in this together. And finally, I think a lot of us were brought up in the era of self-care is selfish, but I think understanding now burnout and the opposite, which is well-being, that we really have to use self-care to get us back to doing what we do well and to keep us sustained in our careers. We need to be able to show up with compassion for our patients, each other, and also self-compassion. So I'd like to close by reading a poem that I just think speaks to this in some ways, obviously in a poetic form, which is using words in a way that I'm simply not capable of, and I'd love to just share this with you. It's by Barbara Rode. We stand at the edge of a true wilderness. No one has entered it nor worn a path for us. There are no maps. We look toward that great openness in awe of the freedom and possibility before us. Yet there is also something in us that causes us to face the unknown territory cautiously and anxiously. Now, in this place, we take time out to look back, to see where we have been and what we have been, to reflect on what we have learned thus far on our journey. We gather together to remind each other to seek our true north and to encourage, to place courage in one another. When we leave this place, we must each find our true path. We must walk alone. But now and then, we may meet. When we meet, may we offer each other the bread of our being. And oh, my brothers, and oh, my sisters, if you hear me plunging wildly, despairingly through the thicket, call out to me, calm me. And if you find me sleeping in the snow, awaken me, lest my heart turn to ice. And if you hear my music praising the mornings of the world, then in that other time, in the blackness of my night, sing it back to me. I want to congratulate the fellows, members, and diplomates for everything you've accomplished and everything you're going to accomplish moving forward. And I want to, again, thank you for the honor of being part of this beautiful fellowship. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Shapiro, for those very wise and important words on this special day for our new members and fellows. It now gives me enormous pleasure to invite the President of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, Mr. Kenneth Mealy, to address us.
Thank you, Cathal. Vice President, RCSI, past presidents, RCSI, Pro-President, RCPI, members of Council, our new Honorary Fellows, Professors Joe Shapiro, Mike Lavelle-Jones, Chief Executive, RCSI, Dean and Vice Dean, Faculty of Radiologists, Honorary Secretary and Dean-elect, Faculty of Dentistry, Honorary Secretary and Dean, Faculty of Sports and Exercise Medicine of RCSI and RCPI, academic staff, ladies and gentlemen, and especially to our new RCSI Fellows and members in Surgery, Radiology, Dentistry, Sports and Exercise Medicine, and those awarded diplomas in Primary Care Dentistry. It is a pleasure to preside over this conferring ceremony and welcome you and your families here today. This ceremony is a fitting recognition of the hard work and commitment that you have shown in your studies and training and practice over the last number of years. All the platform party and RCSI staff understand the hard work, commitment, and the challenges faced while working clinically, but also studying for professional exams. Postgraduate certifications of the Royal College of Surgeons are prestigious, internationally recognised qualifications and quality standards. Holding one of these qualifications demonstrates to colleagues, peers, and employers a healthcare's professional knowledge, clinical skills, and commitment to his or her practice. These professional qualifications also recognise your ability to use your intellectual knowledge and critical thinking in the clinical setting, skills that are vital for a successful professional career which lie ahead. Your qualifications also open up a world of wonderful opportunity as you continue on an exciting journey which allows you to pursue further training and practice in your various specialties throughout the world. Today we acknowledge your families who have supported you in your studies to date. We understand those who have made sacrifices to support your career and rightly are proud of your achievements. As you continue on your professional life journey, you will already understand that the health sciences have undergone a remarkable revolution with an explosion of new knowledge, whether that be scientific, pharmacological, or technological discoveries that has given us an understanding of disease mechanisms that would have been unimaginable when I was at your stage in my career. These developments, in addition to the power of big data, will allow us to analyse healthcare outcomes and will radically transform healthcare management in the coming years. Ongoing advances in knowledge transfer and healthcare management systems will not only continue, but accelerate in your lifetime. And while these changes will challenge you, they will give you an opportunity for intellectual stimulation that will demand constant re-evaluation of your knowledge and professional skills. However, despite all the exciting advances and opportunities that the practice of health sciences offer, medicine and dentistry has never been under greater challenge in most societies throughout the world. Medical and dental costs have increased greater than economic expansion, particularly in the Western world, in a manner which most of us consider unsustainable. And this, coupled with the greater patient and societal expectation of flawless care and the increasing complexity of many of the conditions that we treat, have placed a spotlight on how we all practice. Increasingly, regulatory agencies around the world have promoted greater scrutiny of outcomes and professional behaviour, as you've heard already today. Repeatedly, we see in all jurisdictions instances where doctors and dentists fail to understand these changes and fail to readjust their professional practice and behaviour accordingly. It is clear that healthcare professionals of the future will have to work differently to those of previous generations. The ability to work effectively in teams require a greater degree of interpersonal and leadership skills, to communicate with both medical, dental, nursing and other healthcare workers in addition to patients. Patients and their families also have greater expectations and will demand greater control over the decision-making in their health matters. And to do this in a chaotic and under-resourced healthcare environment is challenging, to say the least. The medical legal environment, as a consequence of these challenging times, will mean that risk management will require greater attention, with the ultimate aim of improving patient outcomes, providing more equitable and efficient care, and consequently protect not only patients, but also yourselves. There will be a greater need for medical practitioners to understand the healthcare systems they work in and engage closely with healthcare administrators in a constructive manner. And while all this may sound daunting, it is our belief that the professional qualifications that you have received today gives each of you the skills to negotiate this complex healthcare environment. Medicine and dentistry remain one of the most fulfilling of professions. It is our sense of empathy and social duty that makes our professions one of the most trusted in surveys of societal trust around the world. Advocacy for patients and empathic care must remain central to all that we do. It is also increasingly apparent that no healthcare system can fully support all the healthcare needs of society. So it's important to be not only an advocate for each of your patients, but also understand the broader societal needs in the communities you will work in and use the resources at your disposal carefully. For many of our membership awardees, it is likely that your most difficult challenge initially will be to select what career path you should choose amongst the diverse specialties which exist within your subject. Having already made that decision earlier in their careers, fellows conferred here today must not only manage and maintain their own professional development, but to reach their full professional potential should also contribute to the training of more junior colleagues, contribute to your professional organisations, and engage constructively with the healthcare administrative structures you work in. To support you in such journeys and manage the challenges all healthcare professionals face, we would not only encourage you to maintain the strong links that you now have with RCSI, but we would also encourage you to to form close bonds with those you work with. Today is also a time to acknowledge the commitment of the teachers and trainers who taught and supported you over the last number of years. It is their endeavours which have given you the skills to practice medicine and dentistry and which will allow you to make a significant contribution to the well-being of the communities in which you will work. RCSI is rightly proud of our mission statement, which refers to developing healthcare leaders who make a difference worldwide. This is our ambition for all of you. Today we graduate a total of 130 doctors and dentists, including our 2 honorary fellows, with fellowships and memberships in surgery, radiology, dentistry, general dental surgery and sports and exercise medicine, and diplomas in primary care dentistry. You will add to the growing body of RCSI fellows and members who are making a difference worldwide and who we are so rightly proud of. Many of you who have graduated today will travel abroad to work and live in other countries, and some to train further and gain additional experience. If it is your intention to travel, it is our hope that some of you will return. Clearly, there are difficulties and challenges within our health service, but despite the current challenges facing medicine and dentistry in Ireland, I firmly believe that it is only by all of us working together that we can improve our health service and consequently patient care, and also the conditions under which our trainees and those appointed to surgical and dental practice within the health service and within the private sector can indeed practice. So finally, let me congratulate again our new fellows, members and diplomates and acknowledge the support of your families. I wish you every success in your personal and professional lives, and I'm confident that passing these milestones in your career will equip you well for the challenges you will encounter in your further training and future careers. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, President. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the formal proceedings. Sincere congratulations to our honorary fellows, our fellows and members. I'd like to take the opportunity to invite our new fellows, members and your guests to join us for a reception in the College Hall and boardroom. And particular thanks to the youngest members of the audience for their great behaviour and patience today. If you could please be upstanding for the outward procession.